Hvad er egentlig forskellen på den presbyterianske og den anglikanske kirke? Det vil vi finde ud af ved at rejse til Skotland og blandt andet interviewe St. Giles minister, Callum MacLeod. Kom. Nu er vi endelig kommet frem til Edinburgh i Skotland. Og det er helt utroligt, hvordan folk har taget imod os. Vi har valgt at undersøge om en af de større kirker i Edinburgh, St. Giles. Og dermed har vi fået lov til at interviewe den minister of St. Giles, Callum MacLeod. Skal vi komme afsted? I St. Giles er der næsten ingen malerier og næsten ingen statuer. Det er grund af den kalvinianske tro mener, at man ikke skal have andre forbilleder end Jesus. Så kan man spørge sig selv, hvorfor er der så stadig glasmalerier? Men det er simpelthen udelukket på grund af udsmykning.
Reformation happened in Scotland, which was 1560.
Yeah.
It all started here at St. Giles.
At St. Giles.
At St. Giles, yeah, St. Giles. And the leading reformer of the day, who was a follower of John Calvin, is called John Knox.
Okay.
And his statue I'll show you when we go out.
Yeah.
So this is 1560. So at that time, Scotland broke away from the Catholic Church, and became Presbyterian in its governance, which meant that in our tradition there are no bishops.
Okay. Yeah.
And the person who is the clergy person is known as the minister.
Yeah.
So I'm the minister of St. Giles Cathedral.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's very much, St. Giles is very much involved in Scottish history. Many important events that happened in Scottish religious and social and political and cultural history, and St. Giles has a part of that history. Many important events happened. This has been a place where the kings and queens of Scotland would worship regularly, so it has a strong royal connection. And now you will know, or you may know, that a cathedral becomes a cathedral when it has a bishop whose chair is in the cathedral. Cathedra is a Latin for chair. So a bishop's chair would have to be here. So at one point in the history of the church in the 1600s, this was not a Catholic church, but an Episcopal church, which meant that it had a bishop installed by the king.
Yeah.
But the Scottish people didn't like that, so they rebelled against it, and they wanted to go back to being Presbyterian, and that's the form of government that the church has today. So it's a Protestant church without a bishop, but historically is a cathedral. We do weddings here, and we baptise children as part of, we have a congregation. Now the congregation comes really from all over Edinburgh, so it's not just a local congregation around in the parish. We do have a parish, but it's very small. But people come from all over Edinburgh and the east of Scotland, and in fact all over the world to visit St Giles. Now we have very good relations with all of the denominations. We are very intentionally ecumenical, so we will do services here where we have the Catholic bishop present and the Episcopal bishop, and we'll have representatives of other churches. And I've done a number of services where we've had representatives of other faiths present. So earlier this year in June, we were remembering the 20th anniversary of the massacre at Srebrenica, during the Bosnian war, and we, of course, the people who were massacred were Muslims. So we had a service here which was intentionally interfaith and welcomed the Muslim community here to remember that great tragedy, great human tragedy. So we tried to be very intentional about having good relationships with people of other Christian faiths and people of other faiths.
Yeah. The Sunday, or
we have a pretty strong attendance on Sunday. I mean, we probably have 500 members, but we probably have that number of people here on a Sunday over the 4 services. So we're quite a well-attended church. And that's because we will also get lots of visitors. So St Giles is seen as the kind of mother church of Presbyterian churches. And there are Presbyterian churches all over the world. And many Americans, Canadians, Australians, people from Africa, Korea, very strong Presbyterian churches. And they see this as the kind of mother church. So we get lots of visitors coming, and we get lots of visitors on Sunday. I'm from Scotland originally, but I spent 17 years in the United States as a minister in a Presbyterian church in downtown Chicago. And I mean, it was an extraordinary place. It had 5,500 members, and there would be 1,500 people in worship on Sunday mornings. And there are no churches of that size in Scotland. That's partly demographic. Scotland's a small country. But it is more secular. It is more secularised. Although, so St Giles is part of the Church of Scotland, which is the national Protestant church in Scotland. And it's a national church because it has a presence in every part of the country. So there are Church of Scotland parishes that cover the whole of the country. And that gives us a particular leverage because we're in very poor places as well as in quite rich places. And so more and more, I think the government are coming to the churches because the churches are experiencing what people are experiencing in their lives at the grassroots.
It's not a competition. But you still yeah, we are about to finish.
Okay.
So, I will say thank you.
Hit that jive jack, fully pocket, black and back. Time and time waits for no man.